Everything for back to school. Pencils down. It's D. All of the above. Trick question. Office Max. We go to the max for you.
In this half hour, Weather Center AM with the national forecast, then Travel-Wise, the weekend outlook, and Stormwatch with the tropical update. Right now, it's your local forecast on the Weather Channel.
Thunderstorms impact your Friday from the deep south to the Rockies. Flash flooding could become a problem in some of those areas. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Weather Center. I'm Bruce Edwards.
And I'm Mike Motley. Thanks for joining us. The weather is fabulous today in the Midwest. How the sunshine and highs in the 70s sound. But it's the same old story in parts of the South. It'll be hot and dry. Dallas goes for the 26th straight day of temperatures at 100 degrees or higher. Thunderstorms are in the picture this afternoon for Denver. Pittsburgh, your rain has moved out and you're enjoying sunshine today. And rain should clear Baltimore later this morning. Now here's Bruce with more.
All right, thanks, Mike, and good morning, everyone. As we take a look at the picture over the Northeast, it is a cloudy one. But the heaviest of the storms you can see are blowing up out here off into the ocean. So again, it's not affecting the rest of us. What we do has a lot of cloud cover that extends onto the south and southwest. It's a frontal system, of course, and that moves in through the mid-south, through the Appalachians, Tennessee Valley, and works its way on into the deep south. We're getting some wet weather into Kansas, parts of western Oklahoma. A line of storms here popping up across southern Missouri, and then you get into Tennessee. It's pretty damp here over to the southern Appalachians as well. Hot and sultry, but you can see how unstable it is. We're getting storms forming here in the Gulf already, a lot of cloud cover hanging in, so there's going to be some wet weather in the southeast. Unfortunately, not into Texas or Louisiana where we need it. The good news is that because of the clouds and some wet weather, Oklahoma will get a good drink of water. And Oklahoma City might not hit 100 degrees for the first time in about 13 or 14 days, but Dallas, no such luck. You're going to still see 100. Here's that ripple of low pressure we showed you yesterday coming across the wave along the front, and that's what's helping enhance the rainfall in the northeast. But it is definitely a case of the bark being a whole lot worse than the bite. Yes, we have widespread rain from Cape Cod back towards the nation's capital, but it is fairly light rain indeed. But you can see the continuation of the moisture all the way back into western parts of Kansas. In the Big Apple, it's been a little soggy there this morning, and here's a look at the Brooklyn Bridge and the headlights on the cars coming across the bridge. But it's been a light rain, nothing extremely heavy. As a matter of fact, anywhere, even though the radar tells you different or looks different. Again, just some rainfall, but heck, we'll take it on a Friday and get it out of the way and have a nice dry weekend. Here's the Northeast corridor. You can see from Boston to Hartford to New York to Philly to Baltimore and D.C. there is wet weather. Very light here, a little heavier as you work towards Westchester, Pennsylvania now, west of the Philly local area, and then up towards Hartford and the Connecticut Valley, moderate shower here towards Boston. We'll close in a little bit, and it's been a wee bit heavier, but still we're talking generally maybe a quarter to a half an inch of rain at most anticipated. A few heavier showers coming over Nantucket Island Island right now, heading off to the northeast. While we work down and follow the line, once again, from around Roanoke and Lynchburg, Virginia, to Christiansburg and Blacksburg, over to Bluefield, some showers there, and around Johnson City, Tennessee. And then we get into central Tennessee and get some heavier storms on Nashville on I-24 down towards Chattanooga. A few heavier downpours. It's soggy in Knoxville, running up towards Jellicoe in the Kentucky border, and then Nashville on I-40. You run in some rain, run out of it, and run back into more around Jackson, Tennessee. We continue to see the showers and storms scattered across southern Missouri around Springfield. Joplin, so far you're staying dry, and there's some wet weather into Kansas lifting on to the north. Liberal catching some rain showers, and there'll be some rain into Oklahoma later on today as well. Mike?
Well, the Pacific Northwest is cool today. You've got some clouds and some showers, and it's almost spring-like in the Midwest. But the heat continues across parts of the South and Texas. This will be the 26th day of temperatures at 100 or above in Dallas. The local utility company, TU Electric, is encouraging residents to turn on their air conditioners and worry about the bills later.
In heat such as this, air conditioning can be a life or death question. And we don't want anybody making that sort of decision when they are concerned about whether or not they're going to be able to pay their electric bill.
Now, here are some things the company recommends to help lower your bills and allow your air conditioners to operate at maximum efficiency. Number 1, install clean air filters. 2, draw blinds and curtains. And 3, keep thermostats set at 78 degrees and use fans as much as possible. We'll look at the temperatures around the country and features into the northeast, and won't need your air conditioner there. Nice temperatures now in Boston, and once the rain leaves Boston and the northeast, you'll see great things this weekend. We're looking at right now 63 I should say, in Boston, 68 in New York, 66 in Philadelphia, Washington, D.C. at 69. We're at 63 in Pittsburgh. And Erie, Pennsylvania reporting 69. Rochester reporting 65 degrees right now.
My side.
Call now, 1-800-913-9720.
Here's what's coming up in the next half hour on the Weather Channel.
This half hour is sponsored by Apple Cinnamon Cheerios. Taste too good for words.
Right now, it's your local forecast on the Weather Channel.
You're faced with more wet weather this morning as you get out and about in New York City. Light to moderate rain is falling in the region, and rain will continue throughout the morning hours, but clearing is expected this afternoon. Hello and welcome to Weather Center. This go round it is sponsored by Apple Cinnamon Cheerios. I'm Will Annan.
And I'm Cheryl Lemke. It's a rainy morning for much of the Northeast, but by this afternoon, the rain will begin to clear out of the region. And also today, you'll be seeing highs well above the century mark in Phoenix. However, St. Louis will enjoy partly sunny skies and some warm temperatures. Tampa will be hot too and could see some thunderstorms a little bit later, but Hartford is already seeing some rain right now. And with more details about the Northeast, here's Will.
Thanks a lot, Cheryl. We'll check on some of that dramatic clearing now from west to east over the northeastern part of the country. You can see the clouds basically gone across much of northern and central New England. Same thing for New York State and much of Pennsylvania. Looking at a couple of spurts of rainfall around New York City, also right around Philadelphia and Boston too, but that won't be lasting much more than a couple of more hours. This is the back edge of the rainfall right now. A few light showers, Washington and Baltimore, getting up towards New York City and Hartford, Connecticut, and right around Boston too. Heaviest of the rainfall right in through here. That stuff has really pulled offshore and is on the move, and as a sway of low pressure begins to move eastward, it's going to drag all the rain eastward with it, and behind it cooler and definitely much drier weather is coming into the picture. And that's going to be the story for just about all weekend long. Should be a fabulous weekend all the way from the Great Lakes to the northeastern part of the country. Look at the temperatures right now with the cloud cover and also with the rain coming down lightly. 63 in Boston, 69 New York City. Much muggier as you head down towards Washington and beyond, down towards the south. 65 is the current temp in Pittsburgh. You've seen a beautiful day already. It looks like a great afternoon on store too. Look at what's going on around Chicago. 72 degrees here. Marquette has warmed up to 58 degrees. I say that because they were in the low to middle 40s this morning. So a real cool start throughout the arrowhead of Minnesota, northern Wisconsin, from Hurley, also over towards Rhinelander and Marquette and Escanaba. And you can see the muggiest of the weather right now. Down to the south, where we pick up the 70s and 80s one more time. This is the high pressure that begins to build into the northeastern part of the country tomorrow. Beneath it, nothing but sinking air and clear skies and some cool readings for this time of the year. On the back side of the high, we pick up some southerly winds already, and there's a blob of showers and storms right now over western parts of Kansas, beginning to roll up the northeastward now, right towards Russell. A few more showers around Valentine, Nebraska, but nothing like you saw yesterday, with many spots looking at between 5, 6, 7 inches of rainfall and a lot of flooding from eastern Kansas to Kansas City to Columbia to around St. Louis. That is not occurring today, just a few light showers here. Let's look at what's happening throughout the Midwest and the Northeast. We're going to check in right now with Cheryl. She's got a chance to look at more rain, this time down to the south.
That's right. In fact, you'll see locally heavy rain and thunderstorms later today throughout the Rockies. However, you're already coping with some heavy rain and thunderstorms this morning in parts of the south. In our latest radar picture from the Tennessee Valley, showing that's a rather dicey situation for those of you traveling. The rain continues to press in all across the Tennessee area, especially portions of Interstate 40, very, very wet. The rain continues right now just north of Memphis. Scattered rains pressing their way across the Nashville area. Rains too around Knoxville and Bristol and Johnson City, Tennessee. And the rain continues to cross the border. It's working into western fringes of North Carolina around Boone County. We've had some popcorn showers too, well to the north and west of Atlanta. And speaking of Atlanta, you'll be seeing increasing clouds throughout the day and a good chance of seeing some showers or thunderstorms later this afternoon. And some of those will be heavy, so be prepared for that. Well, all this wet weather is being triggered by a very slow-moving front. In fact, the very same frontal boundary that we've been tracking all week long. It's still draped from the southern plain states and then trailing over towards the Tennessee Valley, and it's simply not budging. Meanwhile, though, high pressure is camped over the northern Gulf, and that is helping to suppress most of the shower and thunderstorm activity around the deep south today. However, as we have some high heat and high humidity that continues to build across the south, more of those popcorn showers will be flaring up later this afternoon. So for those of you in Atlanta and Birmingham and Tampa Bay, and if your family's vacationing around Disney World this afternoon, you may need the umbrellas a little bit later. Right now, though, we have some very sticky, very uncomfortable temperatures across the south.
The power to do more than anyone else to help you buy or sell a home. In other words, to make your dreams come true. That's the power of number one, Century 21.
Call 1-800-4HOUSES for a Century 21 office near you.
Now your local forecast on the Weather Channel.
Well, wet weather has been greeting you this morning in New York City, but eventually rain will clear the area later today. Good morning and welcome to Weather Center. I'm Cheryl Lemke.
And I'm Will Anna, and thanks for joining us here this morning. The rain continues this hour in the northeast, but things will start to clear in just a couple of hours. Places like New York City, even Boston, will be back to sunshine in just a matter of a few hours. Let's show you what's happening right now as you take a look at the clouds, put them into motion, and you can watch that back edge of the cloud cover. It is rapidly clearing most of eastern Pennsylvania right now. Philadelphia will be looking at the sunshine in a matter of moments. So will a good chunk of New York City. Looks like Boston, you have to wait another hour or two, but the sun will be there for this dry weather beginning to push in from the northwest to the southeast. Heaviest of the rainfall right now is definitely offshore in that blob of cloud cover, and there it is, the back edge of the rainfall. It's already leaving Washington and Baltimore. Philly, you're done. Much of northern New Jersey is done, and much of New York City is done as well, up towards Hartford and Connecticut. A few more showers exist there. What was the scene like this morning? Well, let's check out Boston, Massachusetts, where umbrellas were needed as you headed off to work this morning. Light to moderate rain has been falling in the city since about 2 o'clock this morning. Expect the rain to continue for about another hour or two. Then it's going to be gone. And Boston, you'll be back to nothing but sunshine by mid-afternoon. And by tomorrow morning, as this area of high pressure moves in from the northwest, your temperatures are going to drop into the 50s across most of the region. Same thing for New York City as well. Wow, that'll be a delightful morning coming up and a great weekend too for all of the Northeast, the Midwest, and much of the Ohio Valley. Let's show you what's going on temperature-wise. With the cloud cover and spitting rains, about 63 degrees in Boston. You're back to sunshine, 66 in Pittsburgh. Erie is sunny at 69, and Elmira is looking at 72 degrees, and the sun is back over most of New York State. Nothing but sunshine and gorgeous weather for Chicago this afternoon at 74 degrees. There's been a little bit of rainfall this morning south of Kansas City and St. Louis, both in the middle 70s right now. But high pressure, which is built southward, has really cleared things out around Des Moines, Iowa, and also right around Chicagoland, Indianapolis, and Detroit. And you can see much of the Badger State looking fine as well, Milwaukee and Madison, and La Crosse and Unalaska. There is that clearing trend right there that will overtake all of New England and all of the Northeast within the next few hours. Otherwise, you can see there's still some cloud cover to contend with, this time in western Kansas. 24 hours ago, it was Nebraska and a good chunk of eastern Kansas that saw some very, very heavy rainfall. Not so today, just some light rains from Dodge City to Russell, also in and around the Valentine, Nebraska region, and a few more showers skirting the area south and southeast of Kansas City and Columbia, Missouri. But generally light rainfall here. It is on the move, but again, nothing heavy expected during the next 24 to 36 hours here. That's your look at the Midwest, and also throughout the northeastern part of the country, we've got more weather, and with that, we go back to the desk and Cheryl Lemke.
Well, thunderstorms are targeting places from the deep south to the Rockies this afternoon, and flooding could become a problem in some areas. As we check out the latest radar picture, the rain has been hanging tough across the Tennessee Valley, as it has for most of the morning. And that means if you're running some errands this afternoon, heading to the bank, maybe heading to the dry cleaners to pick up some clothes, you'll probably be encountering some of these wet conditions. Right now, some rains just north of Memphis, showers back over towards Jackson, Tennessee, rains too for Nashville. But boy, we've had some really soaking downpours near Chattanooga, and they're now coming in across northwestern Georgia, right around Calhoun and Dalton, Georgia. So if you're traveling north from Atlanta along Interstate 75, you're going to be seeing some very, very wet conditions indeed. And actually, this is just a sample of things to come. The showers and thunderstorms are sagging southeast bound, and we do anticipate some heavier showers and thunderstorms to eventually press right through Atlanta a little bit later on today. And all this wet weather can be attributed to a frontal boundary that is simply not budging. It's draped from the Tennessee Valley and then streaming back towards Texas. And that front will kind of vacillate back and forth through the afternoon, continuing to trigger some showers and some storms. Meanwhile, for most of the deep south right now, it's been kind of quiet and lackluster. Just a few renegade showers with some rains right around West Palm Beach and Miami at this time. But we'll likely see more of these showers, kind of a popcorn showers flaring up at random across the southeast as the heat and the humidity continues to build during the afternoon. And already we're seeing some very warm, muggy conditions across the south. It's 86 right now for New Orleans, 88 around Panama City. If you're walking along the pier in Tampa, it's right now 87 with 81 though for Atlanta. And again, a warm start already, but that will easily lend to some very hot stuff this afternoon with highs in the 90s and the 100s. And it's that combination of high heat and high humidity that can be very taxing and very dangerous for you because you'll likely get heat stroke or heat exhaustion if you're not too terribly careful. So again, be watching and be careful today because the heat index into the dangerous zone for parts of the south. Here are some heat wave safety tips to keep in mind. Wear some lightweight clothes and try to limit those strenuous outdoor activities. To the west we go. Looks nice for those of you vacationing around San Francisco today. Spotty rains for the Pacific Northwest, though, will be tapering off. But the showers and thunderstorms increasing across the Intermountain West and the Rockies. So if you're going to be out and about today around Lander or Casper, around Denver, or perhaps around Albuquerque, keep the umbrellas handy. And now let's check out the forecast, though, in greater detail. Here's Will.
Okay, Cheryl, first thing we're going to do is update you on Tropical Storm Alex. 11 o'clock this morning, Atlantic Standard Time. This was the latest coordinates. Center of circulation 15.5 degrees north, 49.5 degrees west, or still some 725 miles east of the Leeward Islands. Top sustained winds holding steady at 50 miles per hour. It's encountering some shear, a hostile environment right now, moving westerly a little slower at 12 miles per hour, and the pressure holding steady at about 1,000 millibars. We're going to have a complete report on Tropical Storm Alex and everything that's going on in the tropics, including another hurricane in the eastern Pacific, but that's coming up in about, 10, 12, 13 more minutes. Stick around for that. Let's show you what's going on right now as we look at our forecast. Here comes the showers popping up throughout the Rockies. Could be some heavier storms in the southeastern part of the country too, and the clearing trend is going to be dramatic in the northeastern part of the country to lead to just a fabulous weekend from Boston, New York, back to Detroit, to around Green Bay and Minneapolis, St. Paul. Here's the chances of rainfall on the increase across not only the Tennessee Valley and a good chunk of Alabama, but probably northwestern Georgia too. Hot stuff where it's going to be dry in Texas, above 100 degrees again for Dallas. Lows tomorrow morning, comfortable for the northeast, the suburbs of Boston and New York City into the 50s, and the highs tomorrow afternoon. Take a look at that, back into the 100-degree range over much of Texas, but still very nice from Green Bay to Cleveland to Boston.
Well, the combination of that searing heat for Texas and some of those scattered showers around the country will make for some difficult travel problems.
That's coming up on TravelWise. We'll check it out next.
With letters like these, it's easy to understand why more
Welcome to the Tropical Update. It's Tropical Update time here at the Weather Channel. We've got some interesting things to talk about. We've got Tropical Storm Alex in the Atlantic. We've got Hurricane Estelle in the Pacific, and we've got a tropical depression way out there to look at. You can see here this morning, here's our latest infrared satellite imagery on Alex. Continues to move to the west rather slowly, but the upper level shear is getting a handle on it now, and we're in good shape with it relative to development. It doesn't look like it's doing much right now. Here's the latest from the Hurricane Center at 11 a.m. 15.5 north, 49.5 west. That's 725 miles to the east of the Leeward Islands there. It's 50 miles per hour, no change in intensity, although it's looking a little less intense this morning, and if this trend continues, I think we'll see a weakening in the wind field very shortly. It's moving to the west at 12 miles per hour, and the pressure's 1,000 millibars. Now here's the latest satellite image, visible satellite image on the system. You can see, first of all, look at all this high cloud blowing off the top of it toward the north. That's indicating that it's sheared, it's under a sheared environment and not favorable for development. The low-level circulation center is way down here, very close to that one single thunderstorm that just popped up just a few minutes ago. And that indicates that the thunderstorm activity to the north is not co-located with the center, and that's also not favorable for development. Good news. Now, as this system moves to the west, if it remains rather weak, it's probably more likely to take a little more westward track. And you'll have to watch out there in the islands the next 60 to 72 hours. Keep in tune to the Weather Channel on this, because it's not gone till it's gone. But it looks right now like it's weakening slowly, even though the intensity of the winds have not come down yet. So if that trend continues, we should see a weakening in the winds. And we can see the upper level flow here. Here's Estelle here. And if we look on the upper level satellite winds, this is up at jet level. If you're flying a jet somewhere at about 35 to 40,000 feet, flow is out of the south-southwest right over the top of the system, and it's moving right into this axis of low pressure here that we have been talking about the last couple days. And this is a very hostile environment for it. So we're in pretty good shape with it right now. We'll keep the latest information coming to you as you watch the Weather Channel. Now, farther out to the east, the flow aloft is a little more favorable. That upper level ridge is still in there. And we do have a surface center that came off the coast, a tropical wave, now a low pressure center, sitting right about here this morning. The good thing about it right now is there's very little in the way of thunderstorm activity around it. Most of it's well to the south of the system. But we'll watch as it moves to the west and keep you informed on it. Right now, no major concern, but at least it's a wave that we have to be watching the next 24 to 36 hours. Now, in the Caribbean Sea, we had seen some shower activity over here in the western Caribbean yesterday, mostly associated with an upper level low that has since moved up in this area, and the shower activity has rapidly decreased, and now we have some pretty nice weather there all along the Central American coast, with trade winds just blowing into the coast and a few high clouds. We have been looking at another system right up here. This area here is rather favorable for development of a system, and we see a weak low-level circulation there. Nothing at the surface yet, but we'll have to keep an eye on this system the next 24 hours. You can see some thunderstorms developing in that area. Now, the Gulf of Mexico has been very quiet, ridge of high pressure at the surface and a high pressure over Texas, producing that hot weather that's keeping the western Gulf of Mexico virtually clear. Keep in mind, here's our 100 hurricanes per 100-year track relative to the time of year, and we're right here ready to go into the time where we start to see a significant increase. Now's the time to make sure you've got all your hurricane preparedness goodies in order. Don't wait till it's too late. Now, as we go out into the Pacific here, we see Hurricane Estelle. It's now up to 80 miles per hour. That's an increase in wind speed, still moving to the west at 15 miles per hour, 983 millibar central pressure. The track of this is going to continue to move toward the west the next 24 to 36 hours. You can see here a very deep area of thunderstorms right over the center of the system. We don't have an eye yet, and you do not have to have an eye to have a hurricane. But we'll have to watch this one closely. It looks like the only impact we'll have on the coast, at least the next 48 hours or so, will be surf along the Central America coast and the Baja California coast. Farther out, we've got Tropical Depression Darby. Winds are 30 miles per hour, but it's really just a low cloud swirl now. Here's the center here, producing a little heavier surf here on the northeast coast of the Hawaiian Islands. So we don't have to worry about that too much. Let's go back to Will now and see what he's got going across the country for severe weather.
Okay, Steve, once again, we're going to talk about coming up at the top of the hour. We'll talk about some refreshing air for the Midwest and the northeastern part of the country, a clearing trend here, but the heat continues across Texas for most of the upcoming weekend. That story and more coming up in just a couple of minutes.
On again, off again showers will cloud skies over parts of the northeast this